Welcome back. This is Retirement News Online. All too often, people entering retirement don't put enough emphasis on the importance of planning so that they maximize the opportunities and minimize the risks they're about to face in retirement. My guest is John Farmer in Mesa, Arizona. John, it's good to see you again. Why don't you begin by talking about the difference between financial planning and retirement planning?
Well, with traditional financial planning, basically what you're doing, it's more of an accumulation phase. And the idea is to get as much money in as possible, as fast as possible, so that at retirement time, you're going to have enough to be able to live on. And if you look at what I call retirement planning is more of how do you take that money and make it last as long as you do. The idea is to make sure that you don't run out of money before you run out of time. And I think that's the big differential between financial planning and retirement planning.
You know, John, in the beginning we were talking about risks in retirement. Why don't you talk about some of the risks that retirees need to consider?
Well, Scott, the Social Security Administration recently compiled some data that said that men are going to live to roughly about 86.2 and women 88.4. I don't know who ends up being a 0.4, but and some even live longer. So we have to plan to make sure that we don't run out of money before we run out of time. And there's a lot of factors that fall into the area that create issues for us. There's inflation, there's taxes, there's long-term care, there's health, there's Social Security. All these things add into your exposure to your money when you're getting ready to retire, when you're in retirement. And a lot of those are uncontrollable. So what we need to do is make sure we have at least a game plan that's set and you have some ideas on how to handle each one of those if something goes sideways on you.
John, with all the people you've worked with over the years, what are some of the common mistakes people make in retirement planning?
Well, Scott, one is retiring too soon. People will, for some reason, they have to retire at 62. And if you retire at 62, you're going to be penalized just in Social Security alone by 25%. If you wait till your full retirement age, whether that's 66, 66 and a half, then you're picking up an additional 25% over what you would get if you were 62. And at 70, then you're picking up somewhere between 24 and 32% additional income that could certainly help you in your retirement and supplement all your other areas. Two is basically when you retire, every day is Saturday. So what you have to do is adjust your lifestyle to whatever your income level is. And I think a lot of people I see do not necessarily make that adjustment. And the third area is leaving your retirement assets exposed to the market. When you're in your 20s and 30s, you can afford to take a 30, 40, 50% hit and still recover before you retire. But after you're retired, you take a 30% hit on your retirement funds, you're going to have to make back 43% just to break even. That's not even growing at all. It's just to break even. So there's a lot of areas that need to be addressed when we go through the retirement process and setting up all the different tools available to you so that we can make sure you make it to the same time that you run out of money. Ideally, you run out of money when you run out of time.
Well, finally, John, according to recent studies, Social Security will be a major part of many Americans' retirement income. Do you think all advisors really understand Social Security?
Short answer, no. Scott, there's over 2,000 different ways of collecting and manipulating the Social Security payouts. And any good advisor knows most of the most popular ones. There's a lot of them, though, that most advisors don't know about, and what you need is to have an advisor who has access to all of those through software or other areas that can make sure that you and your spouse get the exact amount of money that you deserve and are qualified for in your Social Security. And the better we can do that, the more your Social Security will pay out over a long time. And that could be $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 over your retirement area over 30 years.
Great, John. Thanks again.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it.
That was John Farmer in Mesa, Arizona, and you're watching Retirement News Online.